Right. Hello once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are welcome to the Q Customer Experience Conversations. You are welcome from anywhere in the world that you're connecting with us from. You are welcome to the Q, the Customer Experience Conversations, brought to you by my humble self, Dipo Oyewole. This is where we talk about customer experience from both sides of the aisle, from the perspective of the customer, as well as perspective of the business, the organization, the business operators, so that we can see how best we can deliver and receive effective and productive customer experience protocols. So yes, you are welcome to the Q. This is your first time connecting with us. You are very welcome. We hope that you enjoy the program today. All right, so without further ado, let's launch into what we have for today. So today we're talking about creating a customer experience program, part 2. We did part 1 2 weeks ago, and today we'll be continuing with part 2. Hopefully we're able to wrap up today. If not, I guess we'll be having part 3 next week. All right. So yeah, today we're talking about creating a customer experience program. And I'll do a quick recap about what we discussed in part 1 so that we can all be on the same page while we flow with what we have for today. All right. So we talked about customer loyalty and retention, and we talked about building having customer retention means that you need to have their loyalty first and their satisfaction. For you to retain customers, they must be loyal to you, and for them to be loyal to you, they must be satisfied with when they engage your business, either to buy your products or for your services. Your customers primarily, they must be satisfied. And it is when they are satisfied that they can be loyal to you. And when they are loyal to you is when you are able to say you have retained them. Okay? You cannot say you have retained customers that aren't satisfied, because a customer that isn't satisfied with your service or with the experience you've had while engaging your business the first time around will very likely not come back. And they very likely will not be referring other customers to you or potential customers to you. So yes, that is the foundation of customer retention, customer satisfaction. And in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the pillars that form the customer experience protocols. So when we're talking about customer satisfaction, we must understand that it is when the expectations of the customer are met. Every customer has certain expectations when they engage a particular business, a particular brand. We all have expectations. It's not just about being able to buy that product or being able to pay for that service that they end up rendering to us, but it is an overall experience that we can always look back on and say that, yes, at the end of this engagement, this is how it made me feel. Because in most cases, purchasing or engaging a brand to exchange money for value, on some level, it is an emotional decision. Even if you approach it logically, when you engage in the brand, after you engage the brand, on some level, there must be some emotional residue left. Because where that emotional residue will come to pay off for that brand is where the customer has that itch again. And once they have that itch again, they have a steady brand that they can rely on to be able to scratch that itch. When they have that expectation again, they have a brand that can meet those expectations. That is how to retain customers. So retaining customers isn't just something that happens out of the blue. It is something that must be done and must be done deliberately. When we prioritize the satisfaction of customers and not just saying that, you know what, you want to buy a product from me, that's the product, you can buy it, you can pay for it and get out of here. Or that's the service we're rendering, take it or leave it. That's not how to engage your customers. So yes, customer retention. There's two things that it's hinged on: customer loyalty and customer satisfaction. Those are the two linchpins for customer retention. And when you have satisfied customers, you end up having loyal customers. And when you have both, then you can say that you have customers that you have been able to retain and retain over time. And I'm sure everyone here can relate to this particular example where you have a particular brand, maybe a store that you like to get certain things from. They may not be the closest to you, they may not have the cheapest items, but for some reason, you always have to get to that store to get whatever items you need to get. Even though in some cases they may not have it. And then you tell them, okay, you know what? When next are you going to have it? They say, well, we'll have it in the next 1 week. And then you have to wait, even though you can get it from another store. That's because at one point or the other, you have been satisfied with their service. You've had positive experiences while engaging that brand. So that's why you're loyal to them. And because you're loyal to them, they've been able to retain you as a customer. So it's really that simple. Okay? So yeah, and it's important that we have loyal customers for those of us that are business operators, because primarily, whether you like it or not, your loyal customers are your unpaid marketers. They're your unpaid marketers. They help you cut back on how much you get to spend on marketing and sales, or marketing alone. When you have loyal customers, one loyal customer can bring a dozen, and that dozen can bring a couple more. That is the benefit of having loyal customers. Goes back to what we always say here on the Q, that when we're talking about the customer experience, it isn't primarily just about the customer. It's also about the benefit for your business. Because in the end, you end up making more money for it. And that's primarily why we're in business, to make money. Generate revenue, make profits. And that only happens when we have a consistent flow of customers engage our businesses, when we have them engage our brands. That is the only time that happens. So yes, having loyal customers means that you have unpaid marketers. You don't pay them anything. For them to engage your brand, they also have to pay you for it. But at the end, are they able to say that I engage this brand, I engage this business, I think you should pay them a visit, I think you should engage them as well? Is that something customers can say about your business? Is that something customers can say about your brand after they have engaged you the first time, the second time, the 10th time? Because what we have with a lot of brands as well is when they see you're a first-time customer, they engage you very well. The customer experience is fantastic. Second time is fantastic. Third time, not so much. Then they start to take the customer for granted and say, okay, you know what, this one is a regular customer. They can always wait on the queue. This is a regular customer. They won't mind. They'll understand. Like we say here on the queue, your customers don't owe you understanding. They do not. They do not. That's not what they're paying for. Customers are not paying to understand you. You're paying for value. And until you're able to deliver that value wholesomely, not just in exchange for a product or a service, but in the experience they get, until you're able to do that adequately, you have failed when we're talking about engaging your customer productively with regards to the conversation of customer experience. So yes, we must have loyal customers. We must be able to retain our customers. We must be able to retain them. So it is important that we're able to build effective customer experience programs across board, whatever it takes. The other week, we talked about the customer journey map, where it's about a visual representation of how you want to engage your customer from point A to point B throughout the journey. Talking about the first thing that you will do when a customer engages your brand, even if it's at the level of inquiries. What is that thing that you're going to do? How are you going to respond? How are you going to respond? And after that response, you can envisage what your customer will say or how they will react. And then what would your response be? Because it is very important that when we're doing the customer journey map, we must have a clear picture of the destination so that we can map out that journey all the way with little to no errors. It is very important. Very, very important. And for us to be able to create effective customer experience programs, we must be able to anticipate the needs of the customer. We must be able to. And part of how we can do that is possibly through surveys, through gathering data, through feedback. On the Q, we are huge fans of data, we are huge fans of surveys and feedback, because that is the only way we can effectively say that we're building customer experience protocols that matter. And they matter to who? They matter to the customers, not to you, the business operator. It must matter to the customer because the customer is at the center of it. And so that's why we talk about the customer experience here on the Q and not customer service, because the customer has to be at the center of it, not the service operator. We must be able to build it effectively in that manner, to be able to accurately say to a reasonable degree that this is what the customer needs. These are the needs of the customer, and these are the ways we intend to meet those needs. That's the only way we can say that we have been able to effectively deliver sound customer experience protocols to our customers. All right? And internally within the organization or within a business, huge components are responsible for the kind of customer experience that our customers get and how we're developing or designing customer experience programs within our organizations. The first elements are the staff or the team members or the employees. These are the people that you need to train. They need to know what the expectations are. You need to train them. And when we say employees, we don't mean training people at the lower cadre of any organization. We mean every single person within that organization, no matter your role, no matter your title. Because the customer experience is the responsibility of every single person in an organization, in a business, in a brand. It is the responsibility of everyone, not the people you say are in the customer service department or unit. It's the responsibility of everyone in a particular organization or business to see that your customers get sound customer experience. Because every single individual in a business, in themselves, they are touch points for a customer. So a customer cannot engage you and then you say, oh, sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me direct you to the folks at the customer experience or the customer service unit or the customer service desk. That's not good enough. So every single person in an organization must be trained. They must have the requisite and adequate information that they need to be able to attend the customers and attend to them effectively. At the very least, at the points of inquiry. At the very least, that's the least you can do. That at the point of inquiry, you can engage a customer and engage them productively to where they can adequately say that, you know what, for my first engagement with this business, I got some answers. And then you can direct them to the folks that have maybe better information than you do. But you must not be clueless. No one in an organization must be clueless. They must have an idea of every single thing to a reasonable degree. You must have people that are well trained. You must have people with the right attitude. You must have people that enjoy their work. You must have an environment where people can contribute effectively, where they can suggest improvements and where those suggestions are taken into account. Because today we have a lot of businesses where they have the suggestion boxes or they have meetings every Monday and then people come with different suggestions and then those suggestions aren't taken seriously. They aren't taken seriously. They aren't handled with any sense of regard whatsoever. And when people see that their suggestions aren't taken seriously, that there are no actions taken from those suggestions, they hold back. So next time you come and say, oh, can we have any suggestions? And everybody's looking at you like, okay, well, we don't have any suggestions. What's going on? Why would you be asking us that? The previous ones that we've been sharing in the other meetings, what came of them? What came of them? So within your business, within your organization, no matter the size, no matter the sector or industry, you must be able to build a conducive environment where employees are heard, where team members can contribute effectively. And as much as possible, where a suggestion can't be implemented or where it can't be implemented immediately or at all, it is important that you are able to communicate with that particular individual, either in the open meeting or privately, for them to understand that their suggestion is valued and for XYZ reason, it is not feasible to implement it at this time or at all. Because we have to be very sincere, because in the end, we're all dealing with human beings, either as team members or you're dealing with human beings as your customers. And what is common is that every single human being wants respect. It's basic human nature. Everyone wants respect. It won't cost you more than 2 minutes to have someone call the side and say, okay, you know what? Hi, great suggestion, but I don't think we can be able to do that now for XYZ reason. It's to compromise the current strategies we have on ground, or maybe we have to delay it for a couple of months. It's a good idea, brilliant idea, keep it coming. That person is motivated to give more suggestions. And in the case where you may think that you have a particular team member that is fond of giving impractical ideas, one day they'll give practical ones. You'll be surprised. You will be surprised. So it does happen. Okay? So yes, your staff must have the right attitude, must be well trained, they must enjoy their work, must be able to contribute to the improvement of the business and the entire conversation around the customer experience. And they must be huge advocates for your business. And the only way they can be advocates for your business is when they enjoy their work. It's very simple. It's the same thing with how customers become advocates for your business and your brand. When they are satisfied with your business, when they're satisfied with whatever engagement they have with you and with your brand. All right. So very quickly, let's jump into what we have for today, because we don't have a lot of time on our hands. But before we do that, I'd like to say a huge welcome again to anyone just joining us. Welcome to the Q, the Customer Experience Conversations. This is where we talk about the customer experience from both sides of the aisle, from the perspective of the customer and from the perspective of the business operator as well. Because the objective is we must see how customers get the best customer experience they can, and how businesses and brands can deliver that to them at the same time. The customers approach brands with expectations. They engage brands with expectations. We must see how those brands are able to meet those expectations. We must see how it is done. Because now more than ever, we have a lot of brands that don't prioritize customer experience. And these conversations are valid for today. They are valid for tomorrow. They will always be valid. So we must have these conversations. But more importantly, thank you for joining. Thank you for connecting. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, look at the bottom of your screen. You have a couple of buttons there. There's a place where you can request to be part of the conversation. It's not supposed to be a monologue. It's supposed to be a dialogue, and at some point during the course of the program, you will be invited to be part of the conversation so you can share with us. It could be based on what we're talking about today or something around the entire conversation about the customer experience. So thank you again for being part of the Q today. So yes, again, we're talking about creating a customer experience program part 2. And we started off by doing a quick recap of what we did in part 1 2 weeks ago. All right, so today we're doing part 2, and we will start with after sales service. And interestingly, when we talk about after sales service, a lot of business operators believe that after sales service starts when the customer has engaged your brand the very first time. I mean, there's been an exchange of money through hands, and then you give them the products or you deliver the service, and that's it. You're wrong. After sales service starts from when they first engage you at the point of inquiry. We will see that. That is where after sales service does start from. It doesn't start from when maybe the customer has left and then you say, oh, you're calling them, did you enjoy the product? Did you enjoy the service? That's not after sales service at all. After sales service, it does start from when your customer engages your brand first. Because Anybody that will be interested in engaging you after a particular transaction must be somebody who has had a positive customer experience with you. I mean, I'm sure we can also relate to this example where there are a lot of some brands that do make the effort to call you. Maybe after you've engaged them, you made a purchase with them, and then they get to call you afterwards to ask, oh, do you enjoy our services and all of that? And once they mention the name of the brand, and then you tell them, I'm in a meeting, I can't take this call right now. Because they have a positive experience and maybe you weren't just in the mood to express your displeasure to them. They're making an effort, but too little, too late, like they say. Because the after sales service does not start from when you have concluded that transaction. It ought to have begun from the first time you engage them. That is why. So where it doesn't start from that level, there's a breakdown from where they try to reach out to you after the entire transaction has been concluded in the name of after sales service, to maybe get some feedback from you. And maybe at that point, you're really just not interested in giving them any feedback. And then you just end the conversation. Or they send you a message and then you don't respond. Because in the end, you don't owe them any response anyway. You don't. You don't. They should have done better. At the point of engagement, they should have done better. It is just what it is. Okay? So, for after sales service, we need to understand that a sale is the first step to increasing your sales. After sales service, when we're talking about after sales service, it is not the last thing you have to do. It is the first thing you have to do. And that's why when we're having the recap earlier, we talked about the customer journey map, where we have a visual representation of the entire journey engagement that we'll be having with our customers, where it's important that we're able to identify the destination so that we can map out the journey to get to that destination. So if your destination is the after sales, you must understand that the journey to get to after sales starts from before the sale, the first sale starts. So you are now talking about after sales. The sale must happen first. It must happen first. So whatever happens during the course of that engagement to make sure the sale happens is what will determine if you have a breakdown or some success with your after sales service when you are attempting to have one. Because some businesses, a lot of businesses really, they can't even be bothered to have any. They can't be bothered. They can't be bothered. And it is quite appalling. So providing good after sales service shows your customers you want to build a long-term relationship with them. That's really just what it means. So you earn their loyalty and to keep their business. Because people understand, they can identify when you make an effort. Whatever relationship it is, people can always tell when you're making an effort. They can always tell. So you have a particular brand that you engaged, you had a decent customer experience with them, and then afterwards you're able to call you or put a message through. You'll be willing to accommodate them. And if it's not a good time to talk, you let them know it's not a good time to talk. And let them know when it's a good time to talk. And then they get to engage you again. That's how it's done. That's really how it's done. But the mere fact that you're able to communicate that you want to build a long-term relationship with them is something that they will take into huge consideration. Because like we've said a couple of times here, your customers, because they are human beings, they have certain basic needs. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to feel special. Every human being wants that. So when you let your customers know that you want to build a long-term relationship with them, they feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel very special. So it isn't quite difficult to build some form of loyal relationship with them. It isn't that difficult. It isn't. So we must be able to understand that the entire conversation, like we always say here on the Q, the entire conversation around the customer experience is something that in the end, it's net, right? Net. It's profitable for your business, period. Looking for ways to make more money, to make more profit. This is it. It's really just that simple. So this really isn't just about the customer. It's also about your business, about your brand, about building a sustainable enterprise. Because you have a satisfied customer, you have a loyal customer, you have a customer you've been able to retain, you keep getting their business. And very likely you keep getting the business of others that they will bring your way. It's a win-win. Okay? So many successful businesses use after-sales service strategies to consolidate sales, which makes sense. Okay? And they used to build customer relationships and grow their profits. Of course, they grow their profits. Because providing after-sales service keeps your customers coming back to you, and it encourages them to refer your business to others. So it's just common sense, really. And after-sales includes what you do at the point of sale. I said that before. Including your customer experience and selling techniques. So it does start from what you do at point of sale. That's your after-sales service. It starts at the point of sale, not at the point of when the transaction has ended. That's not where it starts from. It's a journey that's at the end of it, where you want to get to, where you think it's not going to start from, that's where it's starting from. So it's important that we're able to identify that fact and we're able to embrace it in our businesses. That at the point of sale, that is where after-sales service starts, not at the end of the transaction. All right? And it also includes how you follow up after the customer has left, which is what people typically do. At the end of a transaction, after the customer has left, that's when you try to reach out to them via messages, phone calls, and all sorts. Okay? So it includes how you follow up with your customer after they've left, such as providing follow-up contact and effectively dealing with complaints, where you can always reach out to them to ask questions. Oh, are you having any issue with our product or our service? Are you satisfied? Do you need some explanation to do with installing the unit? And all of that. Okay? So part of the ways that we can also get this done is service and sales strategies at the time of sale. Okay? This is at the time of sale. We've established that after sales service starts from the time of sale. So let's see how we can get it right at the time of sale without having to wait till the end of the transaction, hoping that that's where our after sales service starts. So at the point of sale, how do we get this done? All right. So after sales service starts from the moment your customer has made the decision to buy, even before you've completed the sale transaction. And after sales includes services at the point of sale, such as thanking customers for their business. It's imperative that we're able to do that. Thank them for their business. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. Welcome to the queue. It doesn't cost you anything. Thank your customers for the transaction because they didn't have to come to you anyway. Thank them. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not just cheap, it is free. It literally doesn't cost you anything to say thank you. Thank you for your transaction. Thank you for your business. Hope to see you again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Another way you can do that is confirming sales or delivery arrangements verbally, via email, or via calls. And we discussed being proactive as one of the pillars of the customer experience when we were starting the series we had at the very beginning. That's also being proactive. It's a way to be proactive, where you're confirming sales, you're confirming delivery verbally or otherwise, you're confirming if maybe they need to wrap the package, if it's something they want you to do for them. At least ask. If they don't want it, they don't want it. But it will be on record that you bothered to ask. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, really. And ensuring customers have your contact details and you have theirs as well. Because you can't be talking about after sales and then after the entire transaction, they have problems contacting you or you are unable to reach them. So what are you doing when we're talking about after sales eventually? What are you doing? It doesn't work because there must be a line of communication established between your brand and your customers. It is very important. There must be a line of communication. No matter what it is. Phone calls, emails, DMs, letters, whatever it is, it must exist. There must be a line of communication. Another way you can also do that is adding customers to your business mail or your email lists, or suggest related and additional products or services. We were saying a lot more about that last point as we go along with today's conversation. So using selling strategies to provide after-sales service can increase the financial value of your sales. It really can. Because the customer that engaged your brand, engaged your business, and they were able to make just one transaction, and then they had a decent experience, and the after-sales service after the transaction is also quite good. They will be compelled to come back to you or to engage your business. It's just basic human nature. It's basic human nature. It's just simple. So similarly, the service strategies you use at point of sale may well determine whether or not your customer buys from you again. It's just that simple. The decision is in your hand. If you want them to buy from you again, you want them to engage your brand again, it's left in your hands. It's left in your hands. So we already discussed using service and selling strategies at the time of sale. So we can also use the experience strategies at point of sale. So let's see how that works. It's not so different from the first one we talked about, but let's see how it works. So we can view this particular issue from different perspectives and see which one works for us as a brand, which one we can adopt, which one is more suited to the kind of business we are in, which is more suited to the brand we are in, the sector we're in, the industry we're in. Which one works better? Which one is more practical? Depending on what you do in your business. Selling a product or you're providing a service. So providing good customer experience at the point of sale starts with thanking your customer for their business. Talked about that already. And use the point of sale interaction to make sure your customer feels valued. Like we said, customers want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to feel special. They want to feel valued. It's really simple. Basic human needs. Customers are humans, not spirits, not ghosts. Treat them as such. Treat them as human beings. They have needs. Okay? So we must be able to make our customers feel valued. Very, very important. And you must be able to establish a rapport and tell them about your business. Now, this is the this is the experience strategy at the point of sale. Because we already established that after sales service starts from the point of sale. So at the point of sale, how can we use the experience the customer is getting with us or with our brand to see that the after sales service doesn't fall through the cracks or there's no breakdown in it when we're trying to engage them after the transaction has ended? Okay? So this is how to use this is how to do it. Use the point of sale to provide information. And the first one is clarify any sales or delivery arrangements verbally and offer to phone customers when ordered goods arrive. It's really not that difficult. Even if you can't make phone calls, you can send the message. But you must be able to communicate. You must be proactive. You must be proactive. We have businesses, we have brands. I mean, I have personal experiences where I have to be the person as a customer, having to always Call up the brand, call up the vendor, what is going on with my package, what is going on with my product, what's going on with my item, and that is the only time I could get some form of information. And it's not supposed to be. A lot of business operators, a lot of vendors, they are just lazy. That's it, plain and simple. They are lazy. They are lazy and they take customers for granted. And that's not how to run an effective business. That's not how to run a successful business. You do not take customers for granted. Okay? So moving on. Explain refund policies, especially if your guarantees, your warranties, or your refund policies offer more than the norm in the business environment that you operate in. You should be able to explain it. Your refund policies, your guarantees, your warranties, explain it at the point of sale. It's not after they bought it and then you say, oh, sorry, this product has no warranty on it. And then 1 week after it breaks down, and then they have to call you, and then you're telling them, oh, sorry, there's no warranty on this product, there's no warranty on this item. That's not good enough. It's really not good enough. So you must give, if you are able to, all right, this particular point, if you can, and if it's something you can accommodate in your business, give your customers free product samples and related product information, and be enthusiastic about their benefits. Depending on what you do, depending on what industry or sector you are, depending on what business you're in, if you're able to give your customers samples of your products, or even samples of the experience they are supposed to have when they are engaging you for your service, if it is possible, let them have it. Let them have it. Why not? Like I said, if it is possible, not every business can accommodate this. But if your business can, if you can accommodate it, if you can afford it, I think you should go ahead to do it. And you should also offer to gather more information on a product or service that your customer is interested in. And you must follow up on your offer. You must also be able to go the extra mile. And how do you go the extra mile? When you go the extra mile, you help them make the purchase. You help make the purchase easy for the customer. For example, by offering to gift wrap whatever it is they're getting from you, or carrying the products from the store to their car. The little things, they really do count. Even in business, the little things do count. Invite your customer to any sales promotion you're planning and refer them to your online services and updates. Let them know. Let them know. Let them have the relevant information that they need to have with regards to your brand. Let them know. Tell them where to get the information. Or if possible, send it to them through preferred channels. Let them know. Let them have the information they need. So whenever they want to engage your brand or they want to engage your business again, they can engage it with a lot more information. And there isn't so much ignorance in the mix. So they're more deliberate when they're engaging your business. Let them know. Give your customer your business card and welcome their call or email or DM or whatever way or channel that they're able to communicate with you. And ask if they have any questions. Ask if they require clarifications. Like I say, these things, they're easy. They're easy, they're simple, they're cheap, they're free. You should be able to do them. But for some reason, we have business operators that aren't committed to ensuring that their customers have sound customer experiences. Unfortunately so. Unfortunately so. Unfortunately so. So we've talked about using the experience at point of sale. Because again, we're talking about understanding that at the point of sale, that's where after sales service starts. So we're looking at different ways to engage our customers at the point of sale, because that's where we're starting the after sales service from. So we just talked about using the experience at the point of sale. Now we want to talk about using selling strategies at the point of sale. These selling techniques will help your business make more sales by taking advantage of the moment when the customer has decided to buy. When the customer has decided to buy. I'll take that again. These selling techniques will help your business make more sales by taking advantage of the moment when your customer has decided to buy. Using selling strategies at this point can increase the value of your sale. In some cases, exponentially. Really can increase it. And one of the ways you can do that is you can upsell. I'm sure some of us have heard of upselling before. So this is what upselling is, okay? Persuade your customer of the increased benefits they would receive from one or more profitable products. I mean, they've already made the decision to buy from you. It's clear they made a decision to buy from you, to buy from your business, your brand. How about you try to upsell them? It doesn't hurt. Okay, that's where you persuade your customer of the increased benefits that they receive from one or more profitable products. So they want to get maybe a particular device, maybe that's rated as maybe 1 horsepower. You can engage them. Oh, maybe it's an air conditioning system. Where do you want to place it? What's the size? Oh, I think that maybe a 2 horsepower will be best suited, last you longer, gets cooler faster, gets cooler longer. Do you understand? So that's how it works. And ensure you upsell, your upselling suggestions meet your customers' needs. Because if you go off point, it could go really bad for you. So that's why we'll go back to talking about understanding your customers' needs. What are your customers' needs? And you also, I mean, at the point where they've decided to buy from you, their needs should be very, very clear at that point. Be very, very clear. So whatever you're upselling to them, it must align with whatever their needs are. Not something totally divergent from it, and then they're wondering, who's this fellow? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're talking about? So never try to sell your customers something they don't need. Please don't do that. Never do that. Don't try to sell your customers what they don't need. They may well lose trust or confidence in you because it does, as a customer, what that tells me is you really don't understand me. And if you don't understand me, you don't understand my needs, you don't understand my expectations, how can I expect you to meet those expectations? How can I expect you to give me a very good customer experience at the end of this transaction, even before this transaction ends? How can I guarantee it? I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I'm not confident in your ability. Because that tells me most of the time, or practically all the time, you're not paying attention. So why aren't you paying attention? So another way to do that is also to cross-sell. Talked about upselling. Can talk about cross-selling as well. So you pitch additional products that relate to the product your customer is considering or purchasing. It's also known as suggestive selling. Okay? So you have a customer, they want to buy a particular product from you, and then maybe there's some accessory that also goes with it. You can also suggest it. Oh, have you tried this as well? I think this will go very well with it. That's cross-selling. Suggestive selling. You can do that as well. And you also have to develop a list of related products and their features to help your staff, your team members cross-sell. That's where data comes in. Yes, we're back to data. We'll always talk about data on the queue. That's where data comes in. You must be able to develop a list of related products and their features to help your staff, your employees, your teammates to be able to cross-sell. That's okay, this particular item, you're buying maybe a phone, a new phone, you can always say, oh, have you tried these earbuds? Or have you tried these AirPods with them? I think you'll enjoy them. Or have you tried the smartwatch with it? Have you tried this wireless charger with it? But first, your staff, your teammates, your team members, your employees, they must know that that particular AirPod can go with that particular device. If they don't, then they can't even recommend it because you can't give what you do not have. We also offer extended warranties where you can. Okay? Where you can. Where you can. Offer extended warranties. And encouraging your customer to buy an extended warranty is an effective cross-selling technique. Very effective. Very, very effective. So as we wind down, okay, we'll go to after sales follow-up. We'll go to after sales follow-up. But as we're winding down, I'll do a quick recap of what we'll be talking about so far today. So we'll take the last point and then we'll wrap up for today, and then we'll be continuing, apparently having a part 3. Yep. Starting to look like a Rambo movie right now. So yeah, we'll be having a part 3 next week. But before I move on to the last point, I'll do a quick recap. So today, we're talking about building or developing, creating a customer experience program, part 2. And how we're able to do that is after sales service. That's what we're talking about today, after sales service. And we've been able to establish that after sales service does not start at the end of a transaction, but it starts at the beginning of a transaction. So do not believe that after sales service will always start when the transaction has ended. That's not when your after sales starts. Your after sales starts from the beginning of the transaction with said customer, with the beginning of the engagement with said brand. So it is important that we're able to identify that and not try to wait till the end, because that's what a lot of brands do. They then try to deploy whatever customer experience protocols they have. That's when they start to act polite at the end of a transaction. That's very wrong. That's very wrong. You must understand that your after sales service starts. It begins at the very first time the customer engages you, even at the point of inquiry, before you have the first sale. Before you conclude on the sale, that is where your after sales service starts, not at the end of the transaction. Which was why we referenced the customer journey map, which is the visual representation of how you want to engage your customer at every given point when they engage your brand to the end of a transaction. And it's important that we're able to identify the destination so we can know how to spell out the journey to get to the destination. So today, the destination is the after sales service. And to get to the after sales service, we must be able to identify key factors, key elements that will be part of that journey that will get us to the after sales service. So part of that is service and selling strategies at the time of sale. Part of that is using the experience strategies at the point of sale, and as well using selling strategies at the point of sale, where we talked about upselling and cross-selling. Okay, so very quickly we'll be moving on to the last point, which is for today. Okay, like I said, we'll be continuing this particular series next week. We'll be doing part 3 next week. Today we're handling part 2. It is after sales follow-up. After sales follow-up. This is what people actually think after sales is, but it is actually after sales follow-up. So after sales follow-up is following up your sales, following up your sales, it demonstrates your commitment to customer experience. It helps build your customer loyalty, and it helps you generate repeat sales. Because like we've established before, you call a customer after a particular transaction, after a particular sale, it makes them feel special, makes them feel seen. Every human wants that. Okay? So yes, it helps you build a relationship with them. It tells them that you want to build a long-term relationship with them. So it demonstrates your commitment to customer experience. And when your customers see that you're serious about it, then you earn their loyalty. Then you can say you have retained them. And the customer you have retained will very likely bring you more customers that you can retain. So very quickly, we'll look at the following steps, 3 steps, just 3 steps that we'll be able to engage in what we're talking about after sales follow-up. And then we'll wrap up. All right? First one, Contacting your customers after purchase to ensure they are happy. We discussed that before. Contacting customers after purchase to ensure they are happy. At the end of a particular service engagement, or your customers buy a product from you, see how you can contact them. The phone call, emails, whatever medium you can use. See how you can engage your customers. See how you can do that. So you can get some feedback from them. It is very important. It is very, very important. Okay? The second one, providing repairs, refunds, and warranties. This, we're talking about after sales follow-up. Okay? After sales follow-up. Can provide repairs, refunds, and warranties. Because in some cases, they are required. Which makes me laugh when I see a couple of businesses on Instagram, especially, where you look at their page, first thing you see is no refunds, and then there's one red X in front of it. No refunds, no this, you see another X, no this, no this. You're not telling the customer what you want to do for them. You're already telling them what you want to do. For me, that's quite off-putting. It's quite off-putting. No refund, no return, no, with a big X, or the big, So the third thing we'll be looking at for after sales follow-up is creating opportunities for customer follow-up, such as sales alerts. So you're having sales, you need to engage your customers, you need to let them know. You should be able to get across to them. You should be able to know. You've already established that you need to be able to have the contact for your customers. And they should also be able to contact you as well. It is very important. It is very important. So the following techniques will help you and your sales team build an ongoing sales relationship with your customers and encourage them to refer your business to others. Like we discussed, a satisfied customer is an unpaid marketer. A loyal customer is an unpaid marketer. They are loyal to you, they will bring you more business. That is a guarantee. So all the money you would have spent on maybe marketing and doing promotions and all of that, all you need to do most of the time is to ensure that the customers that you have been able to engage so far, or that you will be engaging, have positive customer experience with your brand. And like we like to say here on the Q, it is very important that we work with data, through survey, through feedback. You must be able to establish a line of communication with your customers. It is very important. It is very, very important. Okay? So yeah, on that note, we will be wrapping up for tonight, today, this afternoon, depending on where you're connecting with us from in the world. So we will be wrapping up on the Q today's program for that for now. And we'll be continuing part 3 next week. But of course, like we like to say here on the Q, on a final note, remember, no matter which side of the aisle you are, you need to stay agile, okay? Stay limber. As a customer, keep your expectations reasonable, keep them realistic, get value for your money. Make sure you get value for your money. It is important. That is what you are paying for. You are paying for value, and that value will come to you in whatever way you think it should. Like I said, keep your expectations reasonable. Demand for value. That's what you're paying for. And as a business operator, strive to meet those expectations to the best of your ability. And give them that value. Give customers that value that you're paying for. Because in the end, that's what they're paying for. So you give them that value. Give them that value. Meet those expectations. We've said when expectations are met, that's when you have positive customer experiences. When expectations aren't met, that's when you have service breakdown. So meet those expectations to the best of your ability. And I believe that when we're able to do this from both sides of the aisle, together we can have an improved conversation or improved customer service across board. And people can understand what the customer experience should truly be. Okay? So after now, you want to connect with us, you can watch previous episodes, including today's episodes, on our YouTube channel, the Q Podcasts, the CUE Podcasts on YouTube, as well as listen on Podbean and Apple Podcasts, the Q Podcasts, the CUE Podcasts. Okay? Those are the channels, those are our platforms where we have our previous episodes. Today's episode will be on there in 24 hours. So endeavor to go there on our YouTube channel, on our podcast channels, the Q Podcasts, the CUE Podcasts. This is where we talk about the customer experience. Thank you for being part of today's program. Remember to tell a friend that the Q, the customer experience conversation, is out there. This is where we talk about the customer experience. Remember to like, share, and subscribe on our various platforms. Till next week on the Q, I remain your host, Dikwo Oyewole. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Till next week. Stay on this platform. There are other updates on the Q here that you will be getting on this particular platform and on our other channels. But to have the Q program next week, I'll see you then. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you.